It's time to get started with our center blocks for the September Cuties. Hey everyone, Cristin here, and it's time to get started on our September Cuties. This one is going to be so cute. So today we are going to work on the center blocks. The center blocks are on page 28 of our booklet. Mine's a little messy because I wrote over my original label. So let's go ahead and pull out your packet if you made packets, and we'll go over the supplies that we need for today. All right, so the first one is always our main fabric. So our main fabric is this tan with brown lines all over it. It's pretty busy, tan with brown lines all over it. And this, I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. I highly recommend that at least for these background fabrics, all right? If you choose not to do it on your applique fabrics, no problem, but at least do it on your main fabric to make sure not to get puckering. All right, we are gonna start with this at 7.5 by 7.5. We want four pieces at 7.5 by 7.5 for our main fabric. And I'm going to bring you over to the computer after we talk about the products to be able to put two of them in one hooping. And that's completely optional. You can do all four separately, or you can try and merge some together to try and save on stabilizer and save on time. Up to you. All right, and then we have all of the applique pieces. So the first one is this navy blue with white dots on it. Navy blue with white dots, four pieces. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. You know I like to do that for my applique pieces because it makes it easier to cut and it lays so flat. I really like it. But the applique pieces, that is a personal preference. All right, so for this first one, this is called shape 1. And shape 1, we want four pieces that are 2 by 5. 2 by 5, four pieces for shape 1. All right. And then for shape 2, it's the same size. It is this green and white stripe. This is a directional fabric, and it is on page 14. There is a cutting guide so that it'll show you, lay your fabric down this way and then you can get this much out of there, and then you'll have the right direction. All right, so page 14. So green and white stripe, and this one is for shape 2, and it's the same size as shape 1, so 2 by 5. Four pieces at 2 by 5 for shape 2. All right, and then shape 3 is this. I love this color. This is really pretty. It's like a very light minty green, maybe. I don't, apple green, very pretty. I really like this one. So this is shape 3. It's a green silky solid, and we want four pieces that are 5 by 5. And again, I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. It's up to you. Four pieces at 5 by 5. All right. That is for shape 3. Now for shape 4, it is a white silky solid. And if you have backed these with fusible stabilizer, the back and the front look very similar. Not completely, but really, really close. So check it when you're going to put it down. So for these, we want four pieces that are 2.5 by 2.5. Four pieces, 2.5 by 2.5, and this is for shape 4. All right, and that's all of the pieces that we need for the center blocks. And then of course we need our batting because we are going to quilt this in the hoop. So our batting is four pieces at 6 by 6. Four pieces of batting, 6 by 6, one for each block. And then we are going to quilt this using apple, center apple. It's called center apple. That will be so cute. Oh my goodness, that is really, really pretty. So center apple it's just called center apple. It's probably like a 5 by 5 quilting design is my guess, but it doesn't actually say. But our final cut size, I think, was 5.5. Let's just see. Does it say in here? Yep, final trim the block to 5.5 by 5.5. So whatever quilting design you use, you want it to be 5 by 5 for your quilting. All right, so that's the center block. We're gonna go ahead and get started on that. I'm excited to work on this one and get started. I'm excited to get to those triangle blocks. The triangle blocks are gonna be so cute with those apples. So like I said, I'm gonna bring you over to the computer for those that choose to merge them into less hooping. So let's do that. Hey everyone, I'm at my computer now, and for those that want to join two of the designs together, I'm going to show you how to do that. It'll save on time and stabilizer, but you can choose to do all four separately if you prefer. All right, so I am going to open up Embrilliance Essentials. That's the embroidery software that I prefer, and I am on my 8x12 hoop, which is actually what I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that. If you're not on the hoop that you want, go up to this Preferences folder and choose the hoop that you want here. All right, and then say OK. And then you can go to this compass button and click H so that it zooms into the hoop. Now, this one's a little bit different in that we want the quilting on the top, so we will have to have the quilting as the last part of the design, but we want the placement and tack down of the batting and the placement and tack down of the main fabric in the front. So it's just the last part of the quilting design that we want last. So it's going to be a little bit different. We've done this all along so far this year, but just in case, let's go ahead. I'm going to bring in the quilting first. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File. And I'm going to bring in, let's see, the quilting, let's see, September, right there. So third from the bottom, centers and triangle September. Click on that. And for those using a 5x7 hoop, there's a smaller one. For those using a bigger hoop, you can scroll down a bit and there's a little bit larger one. This is the 6x10 center apple. And notice the only difference, see that we have that placement and tack down of the main fabric. On this one, it's taken off, all right, or partially taken off. So that's the only difference. They made it so that it'll fit in a 5x7 hoop. So double click on that design. It goes to the center, and I'm going to go ahead, I think I'll just move it up while I'm here. I'm going to click on the design, and I'm going to use my arrow keys. When I use my arrow keys instead of my mouse, it keeps the design to the center of the hoop, or to, let me see the black squares here? It will keep it right along that center guide. All right, so that's why I'm doing that. I'm going to move that up as far as I can without it going over the hoop. All right, and then this blue and orange, those will join together, so we need to change that to be able to do a color sort later. So I'm going to click on 1-1, and I'm going to quickly run through these. So click on 1-1, click on the color, and then the first color that comes up for you, for me it's dark aqua because I have Filtech Glide as my preferred thread color, and say OK. All right, 1-2, click on the color, same thing. The first color that comes up, which is Blaze for me. 1-3, click on the color, and the second color, because we already used dark aqua, so the second one for me is Marine. Whatever your color is fine. You just have to keep track of the colors that you've used, and you can see them here. All right, 1-4, click on the color. We already used Blaze, so I'm going to use Oriole. And then 1-5, click on the color, and the first color is Sprout. All right, so that's all done. Very easy. I'm going to go ahead and click. I clicked outside so that nothing was selected, and then I'm going to click on the design so that all 5 parts are selected. If you were to do a copy and paste before clicking outside the workspace, then you would have just had the last one that you changed the color on. So this 5th part, we want all 5 parts of the quilting. So I'm going to say Control C to copy it, and then Control V like victory to paste. And you can see here that now we have 2 designs. It doesn't look like it because it's on top of the first one, but it's there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move it down as close to the bottom as possible without going over the hoop. All right. And those are done. So those are all ready with all the different color sorts, or with the different colors that we use so that we can do a color sort later. All right, now I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and I'm going to bring in the embroidery design. So I'm going to close up that part, July, December, right here, embroidery files. Pez is what I use for my machine, and we are looking for geometric, it's called, right there, 5x7 geometric. Double click on that, it will go to the center. Now notice it's got these gray lines. See these gray lines here? That is going to be really helpful. We actually won't even need to do a center or a line to distribute because we've got those guides. So we can just use that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the design. It will get all of the parts of this design when I click on that, and I'm going to move it up. Now our guide This gray line here, we want it on the outer part of our quilting. That outer part is the placement and tack down of the main fabric. So we want it to line right up with that on both, all the way around. So on the top and on the bottom, we want that lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and use my arrow key so that it stays in the center, and I'm just going to line it up with that line, that outer part of the design. So once I think I've got it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this compass button, and I'm going to move this crosshair to where I can see that line, and then I'm just going to zoom in with my mouse, and you can see we're right on that line. That's perfect. So if I go back to the compass and bring it up to the top here, to that other gray line, there it is. So the gray line on the outer part, see, this inner part is the placement and tack down of the batting, and this outer part, it's 1/4 inch further, is the placement and tack down of the main fabric. So when I say the outer part, it's the farthest point of that quilting design, and that's what we're lining up that placement guide. So that was super easy. I can use my mouse button to scroll out, or I can go up to this compass button and click H, and you can see that that's lined up perfectly. That was super easy to do with those placement guides there. All right, so before we do a copy and paste, because we need one down here as well, but look at all these blues and oranges again, and a couple of brunettes too. We want to make sure to change those colors so that we can do a color sort, and we have to keep in mind the colors that we already used also. So I'm going to go ahead and click outside of the workspace. You can do it inside of this objects folder, or you can do it in this pink part of the workspace. It doesn't matter. Just click outside so that they're not all selected. And then we're going to select on the first one, which is 3-1. That is the first part of our geometric design. All right, so 3-1, click on the color. We know that we use dark aqua and marine, or whatever your first two colors were. We use that for our quilting design. So I'm going to go down to the third color, which is for me Hawaiian blue, and say OK. And then 3-2, click on 3-2, part of the design, and then click on the color, and same thing. We used Blaze and Oriole, so I'm going to use the third color down for me, which is Coral. All right, and then navy, when I click on it, it's going to give me that same navy, but it will be in not the default navy. So you can do that or not do that. Since I'm already here, I'm going to go ahead and just do all of them. That gives me the best results. So, all right, 3-4, click on the color. So our last one, you can see it right up here. Our last one was Hawaiian blue. So I'm going to use the fourth color down for me as Mercury, and say OK. And then 3-5, click on the color. I want the fourth color down, which is Lava for me. All right, and then 3-6, Brunette. I'm going to click on that, and the first color that comes up is Brunette, so I'm going to keep that. Look at how funny. There's only one T here, but there's two T's on this. I think it is supposed to have two T's, but anyway. Click on that. All right, so 3-6, I have Brunette, and then 3-7, we're back to those blues. Click on the color, and I want the fifth one down this time, so that will be Tropical for me. And then 3-8, click on the color. I want the fifth one down, which is Strawberry Blonde, like my son. All right, and then 3-9, click on the color. We already used Brunette, and we don't want these to join, so we're going to click on the color and go down to the next color down, which is Dark Brown for me. Whatever color it is for you, you just don't want those to join. All right, and then 3-10, back to those blues. So I think we want the sixth one down now, which is for me Robin Egg. Say OK. Yeah, there's that Tropical. I'm just checking here to make sure we're right on the colors. All right, 3-11, click on the color. I want the sixth one down, which is Autumn for me. All right, and then there's that Brunette again, so we want a different color than what we used earlier so that they don't join. So we already did Brunette and we did Dark Brown. You can see them right here, so I'm going to use the third color down, which is Chocolate for me. And then this gray, that's the one that we're not going to use. We're going to bypass it, but it was really helpful to use to line up our design. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and the first color that comes up is Medium Gray, and say OK. All right, so those are all done. Now remember, you want to click outside of the workspace, because right now we just have the 13th part of the design selected, and so we want to be able to select them all. So the easiest way to do that, in my opinion, you can click on the title of the third design, and that gets all of the parts. All right, so Control C to copy and then Control V like victory to paste. And you can see that now we have 4 designs. It doesn't look like it because it's right on top of that one, but we're going to go ahead and move it down. I'm using the arrow key on my keyboard. And again, we're going to line up. I'm going to stop to show you this gray line here. That's that placement guide. And we're going to line it up with this outer line here, right here. All right. And we can check it when we think we've got it right. All right, so now I can go ahead and bring that crosshair down here, and then I can use the mouse button to zoom in or zoom out, and look at, we're right on it. So that's great. I'm going to check it up above just to make sure. Yep, right on it again. See, great. Those placement guides are very helpful. All right, so I'm going to click on this compass and click on H so that it zooms back out. I'm going to click outside of the workspace because right now we've got this 4th design selected. All right, so nothing is selected right now. I'm going to close up these designs so that I can see them all. All right, now this is great, but on this design, this geometric center design, we want the quilting on the top, but we want the placement and tack down of the batting and the placement and tack down of the main fabric on the bottom. So we need to move just the quilting part of the design. The quilting is always the 5th step. When I open up this first one, I can show you. Here's the placement of the batting, tack down of the batting, placement of the main fabric, tack down of the main fabric, and there's our quilting design. So I only want those 2 parts. If I try to say move to last, it's still going to stay within that first design. So it's not going to move it to the bottom. So the workaround that I have found, I'm going to click outside of this. I am going to say File, New Page to open another page. And you can see it brought in another tab and it's empty right now. So I'm going to go to Untitled 1 and I'm going to click on all of these. I could just click on, let me think. I'm going to go ahead and click on all of them. And I'm going to say Control C. So what I did is I clicked down from the bottom and I dragged up. That's the easiest way that I found to be able to select them all. And then Control C to copy. And I'm going to go to Untitled 2, this empty tab, and I'm going to say Control V like victory so that they're all there now. So now I have those same designs. I've got them in Untitled 1 and I have them in Untitled 2. All right. So let's see, I want to do a color sort, but I have to bring that quilting design out first. So what I'm going to do, let's see here, if I think about this, I'm going to go ahead on Untitled 2. Doesn't matter really which one, but we want to keep it clear for everybody. So I'm going to click on this 5th part. So I opened up this design. All right, open up that first design, click on 1-5, and I'm going to say delete. All right, and then I'm going to open up the second design, and same thing, I'm going to click on 2-5, just 2-5, just that part that has the quilting, and I'm going to click delete. All right, so then I still have the placement and tack down of our main fabric and our batting, and I've got the arrow designs, all of that is all good, but I don't have the quilting. So I'm going to go ahead, let's see, I can go to Untitled 1, so that was in Untitled 2. You can see that they're not there. Untitled 1 has them all. So what I can do is I can open up, I'm going to click on just those parts. So if I open up 1 and 2, click on the 1-5 and then click Control and click on 2-5. So I have just those 2 parts selected, and I'm going to say Control C and I'm going to open up Untitled 2. Do I still have you with me? I have these 2 quilting designs selected, and to do that you have to hit the Control button to be able to click on 2 designs. Now I'm going to open up Untitled 2 tab and I'm going to say Control V and it should bring them to the bottom. All right, so see, then we have, let me just run through these real quick to show you. So we have most of the quilting parts, that placement and tack down parts of 1 and then 2, and then we've got the 2 geometric arrows, and then we have those quilting designs. And since we did it copy and paste from that first one, it goes to the exact same area so that now they're on the bottom. When the designs are on the bottom, that means it'll be on the top. It'll be the last thing that we do, so we'll be able to do the quilting on top of the entire appliques and all of that. All right, I hope that makes sense. Now we still have to do our color sort. We've got 36 color steps, but we have these in the right area. You have to make sure before you do a color sort, you always want to make sure that you've got your designs exactly where you want them, because once you do a color sort, it's going to go from 6 designs down to 1 design, and then you won't be able to move the parts of it. All right, so make sure that you've got your boxes as you want them, your 2 designs exactly how you want them. Make sure that your quilting is the last 2 steps, and then we'll go ahead and run a color sort. So right now we have 36 color steps. So I'm going to, and I'm on Untitled 2. I'm going to go to Utility Color Sort. And like I've said in lots of videos, make sure that you've got the same settings as me to get the same results as me. So I've got this RHS pre-sort is not selected, force applique, position and material are not selected, tolerance is at 0. All right, that's very important to be able to get the same results that I'm getting. So it says it's reduced it by 17 color changes. So now I'm going to click New View, and I'm going to have Untitled 1, Untitled 2, which is the one that we were working on, and then we'll have Untitled 3. And in Untitled 3, we'll have just 1 design, all of 6 parts in 1 design. So New View, and see it opened up a 3rd tab, and everything's in 1 design now. And I'm keeping those other tabs so that if anything didn't work the way that I think it should, then I can go back to that 1st tab, or to the 2nd tab actually. So I'm going to click on this little plus sign, and then I can run through it real quick and just make sure everything's right. So there's our placement for our batting on both blocks, our tack down of our batting, our placement of the main fabric, our tack down of the main fabric, and then we run into all these parts, and we just want to make sure that they're together from the 1st design and the 2nd design, that those are grouped together. And so far it's perfect. We're on 10 now. I'm scrolling down, and then 11, 12 all together, 13 is together, 14 is together, 15, they're both together, and you can see because it's selected. All right, and then 16, scroll down again, and those are those placement guides that we will not stitch these, we will bypass these. And then there's our quilting design. So this worked out perfectly, very easy to do. We've got both of these already, and so now I'm going to do a file, save stitch file as, and I'm going to name this I'm in my Falling for Autumn. Check and see where you are. So I was working on Falling for Autumn recently, so that was the first thing that comes up when I did a save as. I want to make sure to move the folder or move the design to the folder I'm thinking of. So I have my Cuties on my desktop, and let's see, so Cuties table topper right there, and embroidery files, and there's the quilting. So I'm going to go to embroidery files. Pez is what I use for my machine, and now it's just asking what do you want to name it. So I'm going to say geometric times 2. You can also put the size of your hoop if you need to remember that. Whatever's going to help you to remember the name of your file. So geometric times 2 works well for me. I'm just going to save that. Make sure to do a save as. Don't forget, always do a save as. Otherwise it saves over the first thing you brought in, and you want to do a save as so that it's creating a second file. All right, so that's all ready. I don't have my machine on, so I can't send it to my machine. If you don't have a wireless ready machine, you can just save it to a USB stick. I've shown on lots of videos how to do that very, very simply, and then you would bring your USB stick over to your embroidery machine. So we're all ready. Let's go ahead and get started with our center blocks. And how are you doing with your goal? I want to hear about it. I really love hearing about the goals. We always set a goal for each of our projects. This one is a full year long goal. So mine is working on strength. I did my run last night at Sequoia National Park, and it was a tempo run. So she ran, the iFit trainer, she ran pretty quick. I had to turn it down a couple of times, but I also turned it up a couple of times too. So I guess that's okay. But anyway, it was a really good workout, and I actually went to dinner at my in-laws, and I wanted to bring something to share, and I made these little mac and cheese cups in a muffin tin, and they were really good. I was really surprised. I've never been able to make mac and cheese before. I'm not a great cook, and you have to make this roux, and you like the butter with the flour in it, and mine always burns or it doesn't work right, whatever. But it worked last night. I was pretty excited. So I'll share a photo of the little dinner thing that I bought. It was really funny. I actually went to the store to buy the supplies, and it was like $29 just for all of the supplies to make these little mac and cheese cups. But I also bought pineapple, and I bought a little toy for my grandson. But anyway, so it worked out, and my little grandson was so cute going around to everybody at the table going, "Did you get mac and cheese? Did you get mac and cheese?" So he really liked it, so that made me happy. That was really fun. So anyway, my workout, I did my Sequoia National Forest workout. I did not do weight training last night. I just did the run, and it was a fast one, so it kicked my butt a bit. So what are you doing for your goal? And my shirt today is Ride Like a Girl. I will add a photo of this so you can see it fully. I think that this was a design that you only got one special weekend if you bought a certain number of designs. I'm not absolutely sure, but if I have a link to the design, I will add it below this video. The shirt is a great shirt. This one is, it's a little longer than the usual shirts that I wear, but this one has a lot more colors than the other one. I love this shirt. I've got it in a minty color, just waiting to embroider on it. I want to do that. But anyway, fun shirt. I will add a link actually on where you can purchase the shirt using my affiliate link. It's a great shirt to embroider on. So I will add that information, and if I have the information on the embroidery design, I'll include that under the video.